This is the ABC Evening News with Harry Reisner and Barbara Walters. And tonight, Howard K. Smith in Washington.
Good evening. Our top stories. President Carter promises a flood of new programs for the poor. More heavy rain falls on Johnstown, Pennsylvania.
An Ohio court rules Kent State can build a gym where the National Guard shot 4 students. And a Senate committee approves Budget Director Burt Lance's financial dealings.
Also, House Speaker Tip O'Neill says he expects some indictments in the Korean influence buying scandal. And I'll have a comment on some hopeful gaps in Israeli Prime Minister Begin's hard line. Barbara?
Thank you, Howard. Vernon Jordan, the executive director of the Urban League, a largely black national organization, charged yesterday that President Carter has failed to keep his campaign promises to blacks. Jordan said, black people, having tasted the sweetness of victory in November, resent the sour taste of disappointment in July. Well, today, President Carter answered the charge in a speech to the Urban League, but the controversy didn't end. Sam Donaldson reports.
The president brought up the fact that Jordan had criticized him almost immediately in his speech to the Urban League, arguing, as Jordan looked on, that the problem of helping the poor was both inherited and difficult.
I've been in office now 6 months, have no apologies to make, and I was trying to think of a story to illustrate that sometimes an immediate transformation can't be accomplished when problems have been there for years or terms of presidents or even generations. Griffin Bell, who will speak to you later, has a favorite story about a man who was arrested for getting drunk and setting a bed on fire. When he got before the judge, he said, "Judge, I plead guilty to being drunk, but the bed was on fire when I got in it."
The president ticked off what he called a flood of new programs, which will help the poor in the weeks and months ahead. And he promised even more.
We still have a long way to go. And you got my pledge to respond well to counsel, to advice, to caution, and to criticism.
The president may have said publicly that he welcomes criticism, but it turns out that wasn't quite what he said privately to his main critic, Vernon Jordan. White House press spokesman Rex Granum said Mr. Carter told Jordan that the president, the cabinet, and the Democratic Congress have a genuine interest in poor people. And statements arguing to the contrary are damaging to their aspirations. Because, said Granum, it damages their faith. Mr. Carter's election gave poor people hope, and suggestions that he isn't delivering are psychologically bad. Suspecting that some people might get the wrong idea from all that, reporters wanted to know if Granum had gotten it right. Or was he just paraphrasing the president, perhaps erroneously? No, said Granum, I've gotten it right. Sam Donaldson, ABC News, the White House.
This is Bill Matney in Washington. The Urban League's executive director declined to get into a public debate over the president's warning against public criticism of his civil rights commitment.
I believe that my conversation momentarily, Mr. McGannon and I, with the president is in fact a private conversation. And I want to leave it as a private conversation, and I'm prepared to respond directly to what the president said on the record.
But Jordan and other Urban League officials believe they've accurately assessed the mounting problems of blacks. Unemployment double that of whites. A widening income gap between blacks and whites, despite equal rights laws won in the 1960s. The Urban League is especially distressed over the staggering unemployment rate among young blacks, as high as 60% in some cities. Despite all this, Jordan chose to voice optimism over the president's appearance and his support.
I do think that the president's presence in and of itself was encouraging. I think that it was positive. I think that it was helpful.
Jordan says he and other civil rights leaders will continue to prod the president